Marcus Chung wasn't superstitious. At 34, he was a full-time graphic designer living alone in a modern Kuala Lumpur high-rise, where his real obsession wasn't art. It was monster Labubu in particular. That mischievous grin, the jagged teeth, the wild hair. It looked like chaos captured in vinyl. He owned over a dozen variants, from the standard black pelt version to glow-in-the-dark editions from Pop Mart events. But there was one he didn't have, the 2019 Monster Night Labubu, rumored to be one of only 50 made. He didn't believe in the haunted rumors surrounding it, just that it had never been officially listed and only appeared in backdoor auctions in Southeast Asia. Supposedly, one was pulled off a display shelf at a Bangkok toy shop after a customer collapsed in front of it. Marcus chalked that up to urban legend. He liked the thrill of the hunt more than anything. So when a listing showed up in a closed Facebook collector group, blurry photo, no description, just a single message, available, Monster Night, pickup only, no shipping, and a location, Ipoh, he messaged immediately, the pickup. The man's name was Raymond, mid-50s, silent, eyes dark like puddles after rain. Marcus met him outside an abandoned workshop behind a row of rusted metal shops where the streetlights didn't quite reach. Raymond didn't say much, just let him inside. The Labubu sat alone in a cracked glass display case. Its fur was darker than any Marcus had seen, almost oily black, and its grin was off, slightly wider, more teeth than normal. He brushed it off. Just a rare mold, he muttered. No returns, Raymond said, voice hoarse. Marcus nodded, paid cash, and left. At home. The moment he placed it on the center shelf of his display cabinet, Marcus felt it, like static electricity behind his eyes. A quiet pressure. The room felt a degree colder. He opened a beer and chalked it up to adrenaline. But that night, he dreamed of something gnawing, a soft chewing sound, wet, persistent. In the dream, he was lying in bed, paralyzed. Something small stood beside him, chewing, not food, but his nails. One by one, he woke up sweating. His fingernails ached. Day 2. Marcus worked from home the next day, but the Monster Night Labubu kept catching his eye. He couldn't explain it. Every time he looked away, it felt misaligned, like it had turned just slightly. That night, he took a photo of it, like planning to post it on his collector's page. But in the photo, the doll's eyes looked different. Instead of black plastic ovals, they had pupils, human-like, faint but there. He zoomed in. The app froze, then crashed. When he reopened the photo, the Labubu's face was distorted, grin stretching unnaturally across the image, teeth blurring like they'd been moving when the picture was taken. Day 3. By the third day, Marcus was different. He hadn't gone outside, hadn't eaten much. He found himself sitting across from the cabinet, watching the Labubu for hours. He began hearing the chewing again, even while awake. A soft tack-tack-tack sound from inside the walls, sometimes from inside the cabinet. He called his building's maintenance. They found nothing. That night, the chewing was louder, and when he finally opened the cabinet to check, the Labubu was facing backwards, its head turned completely around. He stared at it for a long time. Then, carefully, gently, he turned it back around. At 3:12 a.m., Marcus woke up to a sharp pain. His left index finger was bleeding, a small, deep bite mark. He rushed to the bathroom, wrapped it, and returned to the living room to inspect the cabinet. This time, the Labubu was gone. He found it 5 minutes later, sitting in the kitchen, on the floor, its grin wider. By the end of the week, Marcus had installed a camera. He couldn't ignore it anymore. The footage from the first night was uneventful. The second night, different. At 2:47 a.m., the Monster Night Labubu twitched. Not a fall, not a vibration, a twitch. Its head jerked left, then right, then back to center. And at 3:11 a.m., it simply vanished from the frame. 10 seconds later, Marcus, asleep in the background, jerked upright in bed, eyes wide open. Then slowly lay back down. He never remembered it. The collector's forum desperate, Marcus returned to the Facebook group. He posted, "Has anyone had anything weird happen with Monster Night Labubu? I picked one up. Something's wrong with it." Silence. Then a private message from a user named Hollow Tooth. All it said was, "You should have left it in the dark. It doesn't like being seen." Attached was a photo. Another Monster Night Labubu, but this one had no teeth. Below it, a news headline. Bangkok collector found dead. Bled out from 27 small wounds, no signs of forced entry. Marcus stared at the screen. He was shaking. He went to the cabinet and, with shaking hands, removed the Labubu. He sealed it in a shoebox, taped it shut, placed it under heavy books, then sat back down, didn't stop. On the 10th night, Marcus set multiple cameras. He took a sleeping pill. He needed to know the truth. The footage showed him tossing in bed. Then stillness. At 3:08 a.m., the box began to shake. Books toppled. Tape tore itself loose. The Labubu emerged, its eyes no longer plastic but wet, moving, moving. It walked. Its limbs didn't move like a toy. They crawled, jointless, like centipede legs. It climbed onto Marcus's bed, stared at his face, then leaned down and began chewing. The screen went black. Marcus's apartment was found empty. His work laptop was untouched. Food spoiled. His phone left behind. Only the display cabinet was altered. Every shelf was empty, except the middle. There sat the monster night Labubu, alone, its grin now blood-stained, and its teeth, they looked real. Kai Lim didn't believe in ghosts. As the captain of a modest private yacht charter, he'd worked 10 years without a single bad voyage, ferrying tourists across Malaysia's eastern islands, guiding honeymooners through coral reefs and rich, endless blue. But in March 2024, his charter business had dried up. He turned to a new client, a popular Instagram model named Dahlia Cheng, looking for an exclusive ocean shoot with rare collectibles. She had one request. "Can I bring my own props?" Kai agreed. He didn't expect one of them to be a pirate Labubu, vintage sun-faded vibe with a stitched eye patch and a tiny rusted cutlass still in its plastic hand. "It's one of the rarest ones," she told him, holding it like a baby. It belonged to a collector who disappeared. Kai, ever the skeptic, smirked. "Disappeared? You mean ghost story?" Dahlia only smiled. "That's what makes it go viral." They departed from Terengganu at 6 a.m. sharp. By mid-afternoon, the waters had turned still, unnaturally still. No wind, no birds. The radio crackled. GPS blipped in and out. Dahlia remained cheerful. She posed on the bow with the Labubu, whispering to it between shots. "Gotta give him a name," she said. Kai scoffed. "It's a doll. He prefers Captain." Day turned strange. At 3:11 p.m., the first weird thing happened. Dahlia's camera shut off. No warning, no low battery. Just died. She shrugged it off, reached for her phone, but it refused to unlock. "Won't recognize my face," she said. Kai checked his own phone. Dead. Then the boat engine sputtered. Kai lifted the hatch to inspect it, but stopped. There was faint. A soft tack coming from the lower hull. He called down to his crewman Izzat, but there was no response. Only the chewing. Dahlia's chain that night anchored in open water. The stars above were sharp as needles. Kai tried the emergency sat phone. Dead. Then he noticed Dahlia had grown quiet. She sat near the mast, the Labubu in her lap, staring at the sea. "She's telling me where we're going," she whispered. Kai frowned. "You mean he?" "No," she said. "The sea." She turned her head slowly, as if hearing something from deep below. She said she's hungry. At 3:11 a.m., Kai was jolted awake by a loud clank. He rushed to the deck. Dahlia was gone. So was the pirate Labubu. Only her phone remained, screen glowing unlocked, camera app open. He checked the last photo. It showed Dahlia standing at the bow. Behind her was another face, smiling, wide, with too many teeth, and small hands like a doll's, reaching up from the railing. Kai searched the entire boat, top to bottom. He found Izzat in the engine room, catatonic, rocking slowly. He kept whispering. "She climbed up. She climbed up from the deep. Not a doll. Not a doll." His left hand was bleeding. Several of his fingernails were missing. The following day they drifted. No signal, no fuel, no birds, no planes, nothing. Then came the chewing again. From inside the hull. Tack, tack. Kai opened the hatch. There sat the pirate Labubu, dry, untouched, but its eye patch was gone, and its mouth open wider than before. Inside were rows of needle-like teeth. Izzat disappeared the second night. Kai found only a trail of blood across the deck, ending at the railing. Scratched into the wood were the words, "Captain takes his toll." That night at 3:11 a.m., Kai heard something sloshing across the deck. He stayed in the cabin, lights off, holding a knife. Through the porthole, he saw the Labubu, its tiny plastic legs walking, slowly, dragging something long and wet behind it. After 5 days, the Coast Guard found the yacht adrift, 60 miles off course. Kai was found alone, severely dehydrated, muttering about a plastic captain with teeth. Izzat and Dahlia were never found. The GPS log revealed something odd. At exactly 3:11 a.m. every night, the boat's compass spun violently, logging false headings, all pointing due east toward open ocean. Kai was institutionalized for a psychiatric evaluation. He would scream anytime someone showed him a photo of a Labubu doll. He kept repeating a single phrase, "It chews through hulls and people." The pirate Labubu was never recovered, but Coast Guard divers claimed they saw something below the boat. A sunken collector's shelf, rotting at the ocean floor, and resting at the center was the Labubu, staring upward, grinning, still dry, still waiting. When Miratan agreed to document a deforestation protest deep in the jungles of Pahang, she expected sunburns, bugs, and sleepless nights. What she didn't expect was Forest Labubu. The doll arrived in the mail a week before the trip. No note, no sender. It was tucked in a cloth pouch, hand-stitched with faded symbols. The tag just read, "For protection, don't let it see the trees." At first she laughed. It was just another Pop Mart collectible, right? But this Labubu was different. Its fur was moss green, textured like bark. Its grin was carved, not molded, like someone had whittled it with a knife. And its eyes weren't painted on. They were two glass marbles, swirling with flecks of red and yellow. The moment she touched it, she heard it. Tack, 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 faint, like something small chewing on wood. The forest. Mira arrived at the protest camp with her crew, 2 videographers, a sound tech, and a local guide named Hafiz. Locals call this part Lara Tua, Hafiz said as they hiked deeper into the jungle. It means old sorrow. They believe the forest here breathes. By sundown, their tents were set, and the forest groaned with the weight of unseen things. Cicadas buzzed, twigs snapped on their own. Mira placed the forest Labubu on the table near the generator. Lucky charm, she joked, but that night the generator cut out at exactly 3:11 a.m., and the chewing sound began again, louder, closer, something moving in the dark. The first night, Sam, the younger cameraman, wandered from his tent in a daze. Hafiz found him barefoot, muttering by an old tree with a hollow trunk. "I heard it whispering," Sam said, eyes glazed. "It told me to dig." "What told you?" He just pointed at the forest Labubu sitting by the fire. Except it wasn't where they left it. It was perched in a tree branch, 7 feet up, watching. Its wooden smile had widened. By morning, Sam was missing. The team searched until they found a clearing with a circle of stacked stones. At the center was Sam's phone. Screen cracked, camera still recording. The last 10 seconds of footage showed Sam digging at the base of a tree. Then, a sudden lurch, a snapping sound, and something thin and green, like a root, slithering into the corner of the screen. Then blackness, followed by faint chewing. Back at camp, Mira demanded answers from Hafiz. "I told your producers not to bring dolls or charms," he said. "There's an old belief here. Certain spirits mimic what you love. Toys, idols, even pets. They use the form to feed." Mira pointed at the forest Labubu. "It's a piece of plastic." "No," Hafiz said, voice low. "It's a mask." They tried burning the doll. It didn't catch fire, just hissed and smoked like wet bark. At 3:11 a.m., Mira woke to screaming. The sound tech, Jonah, was flailing by the riverbank, one arm stripped of skin from shoulder to elbow. He kept screaming about roots crawling under his skin, trying to replace his bones. They airlifted him out the next morning. He never spoke again, just chewed on his own fingers in the psych ward, muttering about the hollow ones. Mira and Hafiz followed old animal paths deeper into Lara Tua. They found it at sunset. A circle of tree stumps, each carved with faces, twisted grins, sharp teeth. In the center was a stone altar, and sitting on it was the forest Labubu. Its face was no longer smooth. Now it had tiny carvings etched around its eyes, symbols Mira had seen in nightmares. Its grin had split open wider, exposing what looked like tiny wooden teeth. "I think it's feeding," Hafiz whispered. "Every night it eats something. Flesh, memory, spirit." Mira picked up the doll. It was warm, wet, and beneath it carved into the altar, "When the trees breathe, you stop." That night, the camp fell into chaos. The jungle screamed. No wind, no animals, just a high-pitched wailing from the canopy. Branches crashed, vines writhed like veins. Mira ran, flashlight cutting through the undergrowth. She tripped, fell headlong into a hollow log. Inside were bones, dozens, child-sized. And at the far end, wedged in the bark, was another forest labubu, this one rotting, its grin dripping sap. Suddenly, the chewing sound was deafening. From the trees above, roots dropped like nooses, wrapping, dragging, searching. Mira crawled free just in time to see Hafiz being lifted, screaming, into the trees. The roots split open like fingers and began tearing him apart midair. His blood soaked the leaves, and at the base of the tree, the forest labubu sat watching, unmoved, grinning wider. The return, Mira made it back to camp by dawn. Everyone else was gone, just the tents, overturned equipment, and the sound of chewing in the dirt. She dropped the doll in a metal field case, locked it shut, and hiked for 6 hours back to a logging road. The case rattled the entire way. Mira posted her story online, but it was quickly dismissed as a trauma-induced breakdown. Police found no bodies, no bones, no altar, just jungle. But someone from Thailand messaged her, another collector. He said he recognized the forest labubu. That variant wasn't meant to exist. It's not made of plastic. It's carved from a species of tree believed to grow from unburied dead. That version was pulled from circulation after multiple disappearances. The man included a photo from an old Pop Mart expo in Singapore. There, in the corner of a glass display case, sat a forest labubu, its mouth slightly open. Inside were human teeth. 1 month later, Mira left the field case with the university for testing. They opened it in a sealed lab. Inside was dirt, twigs, and one fragment of green fur. No doll. But in the audio logs from the sealed room, at exactly 3:11 a.m., a sound was recorded. A faint, sharp tuck, 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 like something chewing just behind the walls.